out for another adventure today. Got Briggs behind the camera. Today we are in Badlands, and we are going to do a couple of videos down here. They'll be put up like 2 or 3 of them here over the next few weeks. And so we're going to go look at some sites and do a little hiking on some back trails. Talk a little bit about the formation of the Badlands, the rock types that are here, and those types of things. So right now we just turned off of US Highway 44 that we've been driving on east of Rapid City for about the last hour, and we just turned south now on a BIA highway. I can't remember the number right now, but we're right now at the little town of Scenic. Scenic is a very small little town. It's pretty much abandoned. We're going to go to our first site probably about 5 or 8 miles south of Scenic. So come along with us today as we go explore the Badlands. Turned off of Bombing Range Road, which is the name of that road we were just on, if you saw the sign back there. And we are headed toward what is called Sheep Mountain. And when we get up to the top of there, I'll give you the little history of Sheep Mountain and the name of how it got its name. So this is a little access road. It goes back here 2 or 3 miles and winds up to the top of the mountain. Today is a beautiful day. It's 84 degrees out right now. It's supposed to be getting up into the mid-90s, but the fire smoke is still here. The haze is really bad, and coming in here to the Badlands today, blue smoke is everywhere, settling in the valleys. And so I'm pretty sure that once we get up on top, that the distance views that we usually see are going to be quite a bit affected from what they usually are. So let's go ahead and drive up the road and get up to the top of the mountain. Okay, well, we made a stop on the way to Sheep Mountain at the base of Sheep Mountain here, and the Badlands are a series of primarily river deposits, stream deposits, and then overbank flood deposits. The origin of most of the sediment in the Badlands comes from the Black Hills, which is about 60 miles back to the west. And what we're looking at in here is a series of old stream deposits. Again, stream channels, and then when the floods came, the water goes out of the channel and deposits fine silts and clays. So the Badlands formations are a series of very fine grained, sandy material, silts, and a lot of clay. And you can see behind me here is a remnant of an old river channel. So this is a channel. This is sand up here, fine grained sand. And then there's clays, silts, and clays under it. Let's see what this is. This feels pretty silty to me. Yeah, fine sand and silt. So you can feel the grit for silt. Clay in your teeth kind of goes to like pudding. And if it's sand, then the sand is typically going to be more rounded grains, and you can feel the little round grains rolling between your teeth if you gently rub back and forth. So this is a sequence of overbank muds and silts in here, and then sand up here that represents an old fluvial channel. So let's take a little closer look at this. So you can see the cross bedding in here of the units, kind of a scour base in here where the flow came across, and down into these clays and cut into these clays. So these are, the age of this is tertiary. This is in the Oligocene epoch, and roughly somewhere 38 million years to, I don't know, 32 million years. I'll put the correct dates for the Oligocene on the video here. So these are old river deposits, again, coming off of the original erosion of the Black Hills after the Black Hills uplift. So the Black Hills were uplifted 45 to 40 million years ago, and erosion was ongoing and continued from that time period, producing these materials that washed down here and filled up this low area out here. For geologic terms, the Badlands are often referred to as the White River Badlands because they consist of White River age deposits, which are Oligocene. And that's what we're looking at here is the White River group, and the White River deposits. And again, this just happens to be a fluvial channel in here. So very beautiful. It is, there's fossils everywhere down here. The Badlands National Park was established for the preservation of fossil resources. And so it is kind of unique for national park status in that its mission is not primarily for recreation type things, but it's preservation of fossil resources. So very rich fauna down here at that time period. There's oreodonts, which are small, like sheep-like animals, Harachodon, which is like a hippopotamus or rhinoceros type creature. There's camels here. There's saber-toothed cats. A few of those have been found down here. But so there are alligators in the swampy areas, and we might go here in a bit to an area where I know there's some alligator bones, and we'll take a look at those. And so a lot of life was living here, and so this very, very rich faunal successions in here. Again, this was a river system with a lot of overbank flood deposits, so a lot of low-lying swampy land, and turtles were very, very ubiquitous in this area, and in these areas right here where we're at are turtle fossils just about everywhere. So we may find one today. I know a spot where we can go off the road probably 100 yards and find several turtles. We may do that on our way out as we go to another location. So for right now, again, this is an old river deposit. So we're standing on an old stream, and you can see all the sand, the channel sands in here along this little high pedestal in here. So I think we'll head on down the road. We just got up to the top of Sheep Mountain, and I just wanted to say the road we were driving in on south of Scenic is called Bombing Range Road. During World War II, the Army Air Corps, this was pre-Air Force days, used this portion of the Badlands as a bombing range where they had targets set up out here, and they would train pilots to use the machine guns and drop bombs and those types of things. And so many places out here in this area we're here, as you're walking around, you can find ejected 50mm cannon rounds even tips of the bullets that they'd skip across the ground and they'd just lay on the surface of the ground. So that is why that's called Bombing Range Road. Okay, so this is the top of Sheep Mountain Table, and I'll go through the history of why things in the Badlands are referred to as tables here in a bit. But we're in the White River Badlands. The White River is a formation in the Oligocene time period, and that's all the sediment that you see back behind me here on this wall that's standing up in relief. So the Badlands were fluvial deposits, and then for the past 35 million plus years, they have been slowly being eroded into the landforms that we see today in areas where sod or grass has a protective cap, usually very thin soils. Then it protects the underlying rock from erosion, and you get these very sharp erosional scarps that are capped by a grass table or a sod table. And so this is Sheep Mountain Table, referring to the fact that it is a tabletop land on the front of it. And then the sides, the scarps, are very steep, hundreds of feet of just erosional, almost vertical type of cliffs that typify what the Badlands look like. Okay, I'm going to insert some text in here. I just realized watching through this video and putting it together that I really didn't give the history of the name of Sheep Mountain Table. I talked about how these features are called tables and why they're called tables. But for this particular place, Sheep Mountain Table, when the first explorers were out in this part of the country and they were putting together topographic information that became the first topographic maps of these areas, they found that down on this particular location where this film is, that there were mountain sheep that were hanging out on top of this table, and everywhere that they went, the sheep would run up and they would gather at this table. It's very large up on top. It's pretty steep, and it must have offered good grasses and whatnot for the mountain sheep. So the early cartographers, the people in the field, named it Mountain Sheep Table for the mountain sheep that were on there. And so on their maps and the things they were preparing in the field, they put Mountain Sheep Table, and then they sent their materials in, and at the cartography office where the maps were being compiled, whoever was putting names on things saw that name and must have not understood what they meant by it. And so instead of Mountain Sheep Table, which was what was the intention, they switched it around to call it Sheep Mountain. And so Sheep Mountain is what is on the map, and that is what we know it by today. So let's go over here to the edge and take a look and see what it looks like. Unfortunately, all that we can see looking to the west are probably 5 miles of Badlands, and the entire skyline is smoked in. Can't see anything. On a clear day, typically off to the west over here, you can see the entire profile of the Black Hills. Beautiful relief. It just stands in very stark contrast to these desert type deposits that we're looking at here, and then we see the beautiful Black Hills over there, which are all in smoke today. So we will have to come back down here sometime when the smoke clears, so you can get a good view of how clear things are when it's a clear day.